We are talking about K-selected and R-selected species today. This is topic 3.1. Let's go. So we have two basic reproductive styles and approaches for survival. We have our R-selected, which pretty much means have a lot of cheap offspring. Cheap offspring meaning I don't put a lot of energy into it. I'm not going to parent them. I hope they survive. I really don't care. Then we have our K-selected, which means they're expensive. I'm going to spend a lot of time parenting and raising these offspring. I'm going to invest so much energy into their survival. So two examples here. R-selected, oysters. K-selected, elephants. So let's talk about these. All right, with R-selected species, as I mentioned, they have so many offspring. So we're talking hundreds, could even be thousands. They are reproducing all the time to just send them all out there, knowing that most of them are not going to survive. Generally, these are found in unstable environments where these conditions are always changing. And because of this constant changing, it's really difficult for these offspring to survive. Some will, some won't. But because of this instability, it makes no sense to spend a lot of time on these offspring because, as I mentioned, many are not going to survive. So why invest all your time and energy if many are going to die anyways? Instead, we're just going to have a ton of reproducing. So this term R-selected refers to the fact that these species reproduce at a rate that is close to their biotic potential maximum. So every moment that they can reproduce, every cycle, every heat, whatever it is, they are going to reproduce and have babies. So most of the time, these things are low body weight. They have short lifespans. They're going to have many, many, many offspring per brood. And then that brood is going to mature quickly without the parental support. Very, very quickly. Because it's a short lifespan, this needs to happen fast. And they're going to reach that reproductive age very, very quickly. So herring are great examples. Grasshoppers are great examples. Dandelions, we see those all the time. And even mice. Even though there may be a little bit, but most of the time mice, they're born. Look, there's so many little baby mice here. And it's like, all right, off you go. Good luck. Have a great life. And then when they're let go, they actually don't need parenting. They can survive just fine on themselves to get to that reproductive age. Now, K-selected, they have much fewer offspring, but they invest so much energy into helping them survive. We humans, we are K-selected. So there's so much energy that goes into the gestation, but also the parenting to get them to get to this reproducing age. As I mentioned, these K-selected species are adapted in their niche, and it's not going to change. The environment around them is very stable. It's not going to change. A lot of times these are coral reefs, these are rainforests, or these are savannas. It's very stable. Nothing drastic is going to come in and change things. So they can put that energy in because most of the time their offspring are going to survive. Now, we haven't talked about carrying capacity yet, but the population size is going to be stable and it's going to be near that carrying capacity. And like I mentioned, because of those parental efforts, those offspring are going to live to their reproductive age. The term K-selected comes from this carrying capacity, meaning that we're going to create populations that are close to carrying capacity as much as that organism and that population can handle. These species most often have very large body size, long lifespans, long gestation periods where a lot of the development is already happening. And elephants were up to 12 months. It's a long gestation period, a lot of time to dedicate to your offspring. And then very few offspring per brood. And then those young are very slow to develop. They require significant parental care. They can't do it by themselves. They need parents to get them and to support them and to feed them and to teach them to survive on their own. Examples of case-selected species: whales, apes and gorillas, elephants, another great example where almost the whole herd takes after these little baby elephants, tigers, and even robins. You see a lot of robins that are spending lots of time taking care of their youth. Now, as I mentioned, humans are another example. This is my little family here and my two parents keeping track of this brood here. I was the oldest, so even myself, I didn't want to, but I had to parent and take care of these three younger ones here. And I think I did a great job taking care of them and helping them, mature and reach their age they needed to. So, we all look out for each other in these case-selected. Very proud of this, by the way. Now, we have to keep track of the fact, though, that these are at two ends of a spectrum. It's not binary. It's not one or the other. So, for example, here's our oysters. They reproduce at 500 million offspring a year. Holy cow. Then we have our chimpanzees, which are every kind of 5 years generally. But we have some in between. A lot of times you'll see frogs with their tadpoles on their back. Large cats will hold on to their young for a few years and then they say, off you go. So this is a spectrum where we go back and forth, especially seahorses. You see a lot of seahorses that are very protective of those eggs until they're born. So there's different levels of this, and it's not binary. It's not either R or K. This line, the carrying capacity line, represents the maximum that the environment can support. So if you notice, our R selected, they have way too many babies and they all die out because the environment can't support it. So they all die out. And then again, we have way too many babies and they all die out. Way too many babies. So this is back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Where for case-selected species, they're going to start reproducing until they hit that carrying capacity and then they're going to stop. So they're very good at just reaching that carrying capacity and not going over that maximum. All right, hope you guys enjoyed this one. Here's just a nice little recap for you.